quick reading for February for Libra. I'm just doing another out and about reading as I have a moment. So just in looking at some of the cards here for the month of February, it does look like there's going to be some significant challenges on a personal level for you. I feel like you have been on some kind of a journey to kind of get back in touch with yourself, and I feel like the month of February is really going to be a great how do I say, like an overly significant time for that to kind of make manifest. But either way, a little tired today, so I'll try to get to the point. But what I am seeing here roughly is that I'll go through it and flesh it out here. But what I'm seeing in the cards, and again, I'm sort of on limited space here, but we do have the Six of Swords, and then clarifying that would be the Major Arcana Wheel of Fortune. We've got Two of Cups. We've got we've got Nine of Pentacles, as well as the transformation card, the Death card. So it looks to me like there is going to be a significant amount of time that you are spending deliberating, and there may be a lot of conflicts, a lot of communication that is strained in the month of February. I do feel like money is potentially a little slower out, still being, practical in the way that you're going about things, and the way that you use your resources. But overall, there is, a bit of an atmosphere around being a little anxietied, a little worried. There's, definitely some people here that I feel you need to watch out for, but there is energy around progression because you are finding resolves inwardly, which is going to help you to resolve answers on an outward level as well. So, but you are definitely in haste to make something happen here and move in a new direction. I feel like you're anxious to get started with this new direction, although I feel like, there's still a lot of things that are obstacles, or things that you perceive to be obstacles that are in the way here, especially with that Seven of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. I mean, there is energy still that you will have kind of worked through all of this uh, back and forth kind of energy in the month of February, because you do have a victory card here, even though it's hidden away here. But again, the victory is again with getting clear on certain truths coming forward, and that is with the King of Swords. Sorry, trying to give you a little bird's eye view of the cards there. But like I said, I mean, we'll start out here with the Five of Swords and then just kind of go on from there. So, I mean, that Five of Swords energy is still in around dealing with conflicts or stressors or things that you just feel like you don't have a lot of control over in your life. I feel like this is about conflicts in your world, certainly, that you are probably still dealing with. For a lot of you, there could be a sense of, or either the thought of travel is very present, or moving away, or creating distance. But I feel like there's either, for some of you, this will look like transformation in some kind of a really significant relationship will have changed. It's kind of run its cycle in an old, in the old way that's no longer relevant for where you are today, or at least in February. There's something that you're just refusing to deal with. But overall, like I said, the Five of Swords energy is still about, kind of it can also be like a partial defeat of some sort here. So, I mean, especially when it's close to the Hermit card, to me this is like you're trying to figure out yourself. You're trying to figure out how to go forward here, but at the same token, all the answers aren't provided. So you only feel like there's some kind of, you may still have the upper hand in a situation, but it doesn't feel like full control, or at least you perceive it that way. I do feel like you are having to, because there's cards here, of course, with the Ace of Swords further out as clarifier. Some of you might be in the energy of figuring it out in February, what it is that you need to do to kind of break free, find some freedom, release the conflict, remain in control. But definitely these cards are still about you shifting things around in your life, and you're definitely not to give up, because this is all about, a partial defeat, but not defeated. So, whether it's actual true defeat, it is just a sense of you feel like you're being tricked or duped, or in some way, withheld, something's being withheld from you, or something is not going your way in some respect, but there's not movement in the direction that you were hoping for. But there is improvement here, and I do feel, like I say, there is some sense of direction, either in moving to another direction, in terms of career. For some of you, this might be an actual move. Whatever this energy is of kind of moving ahead, it still feels like it's a transition. In some ways, it's almost like that rite of passage, as they say, kind of energy, because I mean, we've got the Six of Swords, but we also have that Wheel of Fortune, and it seems to be in around a relationship. So for some of you, that are in a very deep connection, I feel like there is a sense that Death card is transforming the relationship to a new level, new understanding of how you will be engaging going forward. The other part of it, in terms of a business or in terms of a career, would be, I still feel like there's a sense of you needing to, or that you're separating yourself in some way before going ahead and making a decision. I feel like there's distance here. So it's not necessarily a move or anything out, in that regard, but it's almost like there's so much distance here for you to be able to figure out who you are and what you want out of life, that, it's really deeply transforming some connection that you're significantly involved with. And of course, with the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like this is a sense of you being alone in a coupleship. It's not, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you are alone. Again, this is a perception of how things are for you in the month of February. It's energies, not predictions. So energy is always transmutable. It's always something that can be, altered and shifted. Like I say, you just sort of move into another energy based on the decisions that you make. So predictions, I feel, are a little more in a solid framework, meaning your belief system is fairly sound and very structured, and it's generally going to move in a particular direction because you are quite fixed in a particular area of your life or mindset. But with energy that is from tarot, I feel this is energy that is malleable. This is something that you can still alter, but I feel the overall tone is that you are in a place of really trying to figure out who you are. I feel like there are definitely some epiphany moments here, not grand epiphany moments, but certainly some realizations on how you are going forward, and how, there's, you're fixing something, like you've got a solution to something. And it looks like almost a couple of solutions here that you're coming to terms with in the month of February. Like I said, I mean, the money still looks fairly stable. It doesn't look like there's a lot of disruption in that area. There's definitely some areas of communication here that could be kind of going in a mischievous, sort of toxic, way, because of the level of anxiety seems to be pretty, and there's definitely pretty high. And it does seem to be around you not trusting someone, or trusting a connection, or trusting in self possibly, or maybe all those factors. But it definitely feels as though there is a sense you're having to charge ahead here in this new direction, and it's a bit overwhelming, and it's almost there's a level of anxiety and fear that things have to go faster, something has to be done quicker. And with that Nine of Wands energy, it's almost like, am I going to be able to do this, because it seems like you're pausing here with the Seven of Pentacles and trying to figure out what is the best mode for me to move this task ahead, or this career path ahead, or whatever it is for you. But it seems to be grounded in the practical areas of your life, because it's definitely, Pentacles are all around things that are in the real world. They're not in the thinking realm. So like I said, the Nine of Wands is, strongly ambitious with this Fool card. So I feel like there's a lot of stamina and courage that will be required of you to be able to bring something forward. And I feel like you are very guarded and protecting yourself in a lot of regards, but there is a sense that the anxiety is starting to build up in the month of February. So I do feel like you've got some strong boundaries up here as well, again, with that Nine of Wands energy. But I feel like this could be in response to gossip, or maybe this is in response to some kind of mischievous, trouble that you're detecting, or something that's just kind of come to the surface here. And you're now realizing, okay, now that I'm aware of this, how am I going to, move ahead, given what I know. I have to be really careful. I have to sort of streamline things. I have to be, really putting myself in a place of anonymity, secrecy, and, just trying to draw on those inner resources and stand strong, because again, it's coupled right beside the Knight of Pentacles as well as that Queen of Pentacles. So, I mean, the Knight of Pentacles is all about moving things ahead. Knights are definitely about energy forward moving. So I definitely feel like there is movement in your career aspects at this time, or at least in February of 2023. I do feel like, you don't really want to be in a drama-filled kind of environment. I feel like you're just strongly honoring yourself and your own convictions and your personal expectations and personal beliefs and values. All of that seems to be, where you're really focused. I do feel like you are being, like I said, maybe a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of under the wire about the way in which you're moving things forward, whether that's mysterious or whether that's strategizing, however that looks for you. There seems like you're just not being very vocal about how how you're presenting, how you're proving, or how you're moving things ahead. Not a lot of communication here. Like I said, I feel like there's just a sense of, there is some down-to-earth practical maneuvers, and certainly some moments of, this is how I'm going to fix this, this is what I'm going to do to fix that. You're definitely using that practical mindset to overcome a lot of the things, the challenges that you're coming forward with here. The other part of it could be a Virgo that's involved here as well for some of you. Definitely sort of, earthy sort of signs that present, but there is some kind of hard work that's really going to be required to get past these challenges with that Knight of Pentacles. So I feel like you're really buckling down, and there's a lot of surging energy, like you're overwhelmed by, oh my God, I've got all of this to do. Am I going to get this done in time? And like I say, I mean, the energy is that you will accomplish something here in the month of February, because there is a victory card here, because you've got a couple of moments of, this is how I'm going to, figure this out. This is how I'm going to, I've got a solution. But for the most part, like I said, it's very slow, incremental, responsible kinds of moves that I see here with that Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is somebody that's very resourceful, like I said, and certainly somebody who can be, relied on to figure things out. So, and even though she is a clarifier for the Knight of Pentacles, she's kind of the backbone to that Knight of Pentacles. So again, this is still something, that's in the wings. This is still something, even though it does represent prosperity and wealth, it's still a little further out. But again, there is definitely that sense of, I have to put one foot in front of the other, try not to, get too bogged down with all the details and the minutia. And that's what the Eight of Wands is, or sorry, the Eight of Swords is. That's somebody who's really not seeing, they're getting a little bit overwhelmed by the level of change that's required here, because like I said, for the Five of Swords, it's really taking you into the place of the hermit. So this is about you, trying not to devour your own, sense of well-being, to try to get through this. You have to unlock yourself, be open to things, but again, still strategizing, still being kind of under the wire about how you're, moving things ahead. But I mean, there is definitely a sense of real strong monetary gain here, especially further out, as I say, again, with the victory card with that Six of Wands. But again, you've also got that Wheel of Fortune card, and that is clarified by kind of breaking through with that transitional card of the Six of Swords. So you have to get through a lot of this, letting go and releasing, things that are in your way. And that's what I see here in the month of February. You're really releasing a lot of toxic thoughts, almost, like I say, because for the most part, a lot of the things that I'm seeing here with the Ace of Swords, and again, for a lot of you, this could be relationship, it could be career, because there's a, it kind of goes both ways in this reading here from what I'm seeing. But I definitely see that there is, moments of clarity, like, okay, I'm feeling strong and in my power when I'm sitting here with as the queen, but I'm also in that place of, slow incremental maneuvers to be able to, get into this space where I'm just feeling like I can move ahead, and then I'm back into, I'm overwhelmed. I've got too much on my mind, too much to do. But mostly I feel like the anxiousness is really caused by most of your own mental anguish, most of your own mental thought here, because like I said, the level of swords that I see in this is really an overwhelming amount for, deep changes is what I see here. This is about you going through some deep transformation on a personal level. So, like I said, that Five of Swords can be looked upon as, looking for the possibilities within. What are the things that I can rely on? What am I strong in? What are my good traits? What are my, abilities that I can bring to the table? That's kind of where that sort of, you know, operates around. And then once you figure that out, then you have the ability or the mobility to be able to, act on those improvements, and then it inches you forward a little bit with the Knight of Pentacles. You draw on some of your resources, and then again, you're sort of pulling back here because you need to sort of re-strategize again before you go ahead here. But again, the fact is once you're in the Fool energy here, like, you are definitely ready for something new. But I do feel like there's travel or movement, and again, whatever the progress is, with that Six of Swords, and again, once you release a lot of these things that, maybe it's your attachments to, to what you think you should be doing or how something should be done, because a lot of this is personal improvements and in this month. So it doesn't necessarily, to me, represent a lot of external energy. It seems to be more internal baggage, or, kind of moving through this rite of passage to be able to get to this place of independence with that Knight of Pentacles. And again, the Knight of Pentacles is sort of further out here because these are clarifiers. It's the Six of Swords clarified by the Wheel of Fortune, and then of course there's the Two of Cups. So I feel like significant connection is kind of, it's ready for some kind of a change. So whether some of you might be completely, letting go of a business connection or a strong friendship connection or a strong relationship connection, but whatever it is, it's some kind of significant relationship, in lieu of something that's more independent. Or again, for others, this is kind of moving in I'm going to change what's currently been the status quo, and I'm moving in the direction of being a lot more independent. And certainly I'm transforming on a personal level, maybe even because of a particular dynamic, like relationship dynamic with somebody. So, and again, it would be a significant relationship, somebody who really has a fair amount of, time logged in your head. So the other part of it, like I say, is you do have a victory, and it does seem to be about getting clear on how you're moving forward here, because again, with that King of Swords energy, still lots of, mental anguish, lots in the head here. But again, with the King, it's somebody who's quite mature. So whether this is you, and again, it could be because of the Libra energy here, it does still represent Aquarius energy, kind of comes through there also, but it is somebody who is a fair leader, and it's somebody who is fair and just in the way that they come forward, to this victory. So they wouldn't be underhanded. This is somebody who's very, ethical in their moves. So I feel like you're kind of turning that knowledge into action is really what's happening there too, because even though you're ready for this leap of faith, like I said, there's a lot of energy here in regards to swords. So it's very, good head for business, and a lot of energy, mental energy is being put out here in the month of February. Again, there could be, like I said, some kind of strain around a relationship where there is, for some of you, it could be a possible relationship end, or as I said, it could be just, just that it's transformed. The relationship itself is transformed into something, that is more suited to who you're becoming and where things are going. So again, with the Fool nature, I mean, this is a lot more of a carefree energy, but again, because even though it's a carefree energy and a desire to move something ahead quickly with that Nine of Wands energy, it's almost a little bit more serious tone is what I would say for the month of February. I don't feel like, with the Fool energy that there is excitement, but it's a very serious kind of excitement. It's almost like whatever it is you might be doing, or educating yourself, going back to school, whatever, but it could be something that is very cerebral, something that is very, how do I say, intensely focused or requires intense focus for study or just to, progress. There's a lot of intensity behind it. That's what I would say with the mental thought here. The death card, like I said, even though this is a little further out, this transformation on a personal level, and it may be because of a relationship, like I say, because of the two cups there, it's still further out. It feels like it's going to go into March for a lot of you, but this is definitely, for some of you, it could even be that you're leaving a job as well. But usually for me, when I see a job change, I do see the big cards out here, like Ace of Swords or some form of an ace or something that's major arcana, judgment, whatever. But I don't really see all of that. I see the only main card that seems to be the major arcana here overall is that Fool energy. And that certainly speaks to kind of moving in a new direction. But ultimately, over the course of this new beginning, where you'll end up is in the Death card, which again could be Scorpio energy here too, but could be just moving something ahead in terms of, into a new way of life. I just feel because of this level of personal transformation that you're undergoing, and again, with that Eight of Swords, you're feeling restricted, but then you open up and then you're contemplating again. There's a lot of back and forth energy about, I'm really feeling a lot of inner conflict this month, and then I'm feeling back on top of things again, and I'm moving the game plan ahead, and then I'm back to worrying and strategizing and how do I get past this obstacle, and then you're back to I'm ready to get into this, I've really got to speed things ahead, and then it's back to I'm trying to think before I leap, but it's almost, again, you can only leap once you've actually been able to release a lot of this baggage, and it's emotional baggage, as with that Eight of Cups, as much as it is mental baggage. So the Eight of Cups is really a card of emotionally releasing yourself from all the things that are binding you and binding your energy, because when it binds your energy, that's energy that you're creating more of a lower vibration for yourself, but that kind of energy as well attracts more of it. So it's like you really are staying in a quieter period here to be able to, so that you don't make any moves of, directing yourself toward people that are, in a very negative headspace. You really want to make sure that your moves are solid going forward. And that's what that Seven of Pentacles is to me. So like I said, Seven of Pentacles is definitely cards of waiting on some things here, and it's definitely money that is further out. I still feel like there is a really strong sense that money is being practically made this month, like I said, but there's still a lot of energy and effort about how you're growing it or how to grow it. But again, I do feel that you're trying to find some alternative solutions here, because there's just so much inner energy, inner mental work being done. And I feel like this is going to be, allowing you to find some kind of reward in the month. I'm not saying big reward necessarily. A lot of these are minor arcana, but certainly it is creating some kind of insight into how you're going to take stock of, how you can move your skill set ahead here. And again, like we've got that, like even with the Nine of Pentacles, and again, that's further out here too with that Death card, but the Nine of Pentacles being, a card of independence and self-reliance and, success, confidence, all of that. But it's also about being able to be very grounded in your, in your world, in your capabilities, and certainly in your relationships. So there's something that, even though the end cycle here, and this really seems highlighted for me, is the Ace of Pentacles here in the Wheel of Fortune. So I do feel like wherever it is that you're directing yourself is around some form of money path. And it definitely seems to be like a very lucrative path, whatever this is. So, again, this is further out energy, because the main cards are the Six of Swords here, and you do have a victory in the month here. And again, it feels like it's victory over one's thoughts with that King of Swords. You're really, you're really feeling a lot more confident, toward the end of the month. But again, there's still a lot of stress and worry before you kind of achieve that epiphany moment, I guess, if you will. But I mean, it's almost like, I don't want to say, I shouldn't really say epiphany, because it's really more of an energy of, I'm working through the issues, I'm working through the situation, I'm doing the hard work, I'm doing the mental labor. It's intensive, and I am doing a lot of educating myself in some respect, because this is air energy. So this is something that you are, you're very clever in the way that you are strategizing going forward. But like I said, because it's a victory and it is a king, I just feel like that mature energy really does speak to you finding some sense of authority in your life, and you're relying on, your you're taking an ethical approach in how you manage this victory. So maybe you did have something that was challenging you, either in a career path, or again in regards to, even could be related to around a child for some of you with that Fool energy. But whatever that is for you, the victory is still, almost feels like it could have come with some verbal miscommunication, because I do feel like, because this could even be with the Knight of Pentacles, but it feels like there could, for some of you, this could be involving a younger person. But like I said, it just feels like you're turning knowledge into action here, and it's wise and thoughtful maneuvers, but it feels like the gain that you obtained in this month, has been one that was arduous. It didn't feel good to get there. And again, it's having to release a lot of these old patterns, a lot of these old cycles, especially too when we look at the Wheel of Fortune. There's a lot of things that you have to let go of that, are big things that you're letting go of. Because like I say, the Wheel of the Year card is definitely about, it is a cycle of good luck, but it is also a lot of releasing energy throughout this whole read. So in February, I just feel like there is some improvements, especially in around your mindset, and certainly by the end of it anyway, you'll feel like you're a lot more clear in the direction that you're headed, and a lot more empowered. But like I said, it'll be due to your own transformation. And certainly, whatever it is that you are dealing with, like that Wheel of Fortune is still a card of, you know, seasonal cycles and things that are a little further out. So this might be, like I said, resonating a little further beyond February, because that Six of Swords energy is the predominant energy, and what's going further out with the Wheel of Fortune that's a clarifier. So there will be some kind of transformation around money and finances by the end of that cycle, whatever that is here. And a lot of you are still in this Nine of Wands energy, so it's like there's one more task, one more big hurdle, one more lesson, or one more something that needs to be able to be dealt with before you kind of get into this energy of, and it's something to do with a release before you can move into the Wheel of Fortune here, in around your relationship, and in around, or significant relationships, doesn't have to be love, as well as your financial independence. But these are definitely the main areas that seem to be the focus here for you. And again, I'm not feeling a lot of warm, loving energy off these cards here. These are, again, very cerebral, mental kind of, matter of fact kinds of energy there. So I just feel like you really need to take stock of what lessons you learn in the month of February. And it can't hurt to kind of, I don't want to say necessarily keep a big full journal of every emotion you've ever felt, but some of the things that you are able to release, and write it down as a reminder to yourself, this is what I'm releasing. I'm not planning on repatterning myself to, or reconditioning myself to move in that same direction. But I mean, on the upside, like I said, I see the Fool card here, so that definitely speaks to you having one more challenge or something, fairly significant before you're able to kind of move into this space of the Fool. So I mean, the Fool card is definitely one of feeling a sense of freedom, but again, because of all the cards around it that are restricting, I feel like there's a lot of fear mindset about moving in this direction. So I feel like you want to follow your bliss, so to speak. You really want to get out there with a new idea or a new path, or something, that you want to just take that leap, proverbial leap of faith, as they say, into this direction. But again, there's still that sense of, You need to really release something, and plan ahead for sure, because the Seven of Pentacles tells me you're still in that mode, before anything is really going to, result or resolve. But as I said, I mean, there's a couple of cards here that really speak to me around you're really seeing someone clearly, especially in a relationship. Could be somebody who you're seeing in a mischievous way, but you're seeing it clearly. Like it's not, they can't hide it from you, because you're really able to, you've transformed to such a level that you are able to see people for who they are and what their next moves might be, or what kind of information they might be searching for, things along that line, or how they might, get in the way of, or create obstacles for you. So for the most part, I mean, you're in your own way here in the month of February, but it's also, there are some positive strides in the way that you are moving forward. So you might be taking a little bit of the hard road and condemning yourself, or feeling like you're not enough. Something, I may not, almost feel like it's not so much that you don't feel like you're capable or competent. It's almost like the energy speaks to me more along the lines of a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, and certainly a lot of feeling of, it could be combativeness as well here, but it seems like a lot of this journey inside the month of February is along a personal, um, it's more along you fighting you, is what I would say there. Because like I said, the Two of Cups with that Wheel of Fortune still speaks to, and again, it's further out. It's not going to, I don't feel like for a lot of you, you're going to be moving in this energy right away. But I mean, normally that would be balanced energy kind of going forward there with that Wheel of Fortune. And it certainly speaks to happier connections. But I don't feel like that's where you are in the month of February, but it will be a little further out. You just have to wait for it. But I feel like you will have that support, or those partnerships, or those connections, or the friends, significant family members, whatever it is, for you, that again is still up and coming, not quite ready for the reveal yet. Because like I say, I feel like a lot of you have some inner work to be able to resolve, um, before you're really able to, move into this really dynamic energy with that Wheel of Fortune. So, and again, it's dynamic energy because it is around the Two of Cups, as well as, its money path changes, as well as significant relationship changes. This is a big, significant, things that you're trying to move. I don't want to say move away from, because you can still be in a relationship or still be in situations, so long as somebody is willing to grow and move along that path with you, and you're both, still, your belief sets and values are still congruent, and you still have something to work with. Those are situations where you can actually still continue to build. But like I said, there's some kind of a truth that's being revealed here in regards to the Ace of Swords and that and the Seven of Swords there, because like I said, this is just energy that speaks to me like you have just been made aware of somebody who has been operating in a very mischievous way, very calculated in the way that they have been approaching you. And again, I feel like these are things it's almost like there's a sense of, I'm afraid, or I'm shocked, or but again, I'm not as shocked as I thought I might be, because I'm aware of, and I can see more of what's going on. So again, Ace of Swords is still a new energy. Could be in around a job for some of you, where there has been some backstabbing, or there has been some treachery, or something that has been an obstacle. But I don't feel like it's necessarily job change in the month of February, although that might be something that is in the cards further out. But there is definitely a sense that you are going to be a little more pessimistic in areas here, like I said, but you're doing some deep soul searching to figure out how to operate in this new beginning. And you definitely want a new beginning, and you want to move this ahead pretty quick. And like I say, I mean, whatever these truths are, they are hurtful, but it is still, a victory over it, because you've got all the cards of having the upper hand. So, pain and awareness of those things, it's also bringing to you, victories. And better to know the enemy, or I shouldn't even say the enemy, because really a lot of times it's just working through things with people that you thought you could trust, and then there was an awareness that you couldn't. So, it doesn't mean that you're ostracizing or keeping people out of your life necessarily, but you definitely would be putting up a lot more boundaries about the information that you share. And as much as people can make you feel comfortable and wanting to share, sometimes it's personal power, in keeping things to yourself, until you're ready to, do the big reveal, right? I mean, a lot of times when somebody says that you're in your personal power, I had heard this actually on, it was a podcast, but it was interesting because the fact is when you're in your personal power, it's really about, I'm planning my strategy moving forward, and this is my personal plan. So, when it's your personal plan and you're acting on it, that's your personal power. So it's not just a level of confidence. It's a level of confidence due to actions that you've been taking. So the other thing is that I feel like you are getting a really clear perception over not just connections that you felt that you could trust, but also about, as I say, the path that you're moving toward. And again, the level of awareness that you're getting from strategizing new methods of um, new methods to act upon. So I feel like you've got a couple of solutions that are coming in this month that help you to move something forward. Again, you're moving on with your life, and I feel like you are ready to leave a lot of the past behind here with that Eight of Cups energy. There's still a lot of truths that are being revealed, or maybe this is some of the truths that you've learned over the course of, and you're just in the process of trying to, release them in the month of February. But there's definitely a lot of energy still around, you just trusting yourself, trusting your knowledge, doing the work that you need to, in terms of educating yourself to be able to be your own security guard, with the Nine of Wands. And certainly it is about turning knowledge into action, like I mentioned. So, but it is you being very clever in how you're operating. So when people are coming forward and saying, hey, what's going on for you? What's your situation? What is it that you know, that you're intending to do here with a career and all the rest of it. I mean, this could be you just strategizing and sort of misdirecting people, here, follow this path, but in actual fact, you're moving in another direction. But, it doesn't matter whatever anybody else's curiosity is, because what it really boils down to is, as they say, new levels, new devils. So, if you're starting out in one job and you find that people were calculating and whatever, you're going to find that in the next job, a lot of times too, but that may not manifest until the next person gets hired in that new job. And then you're at odds. But the overall message is you're always learning. So once you know how to deal with one kind of shyster or whatever, you then know how to, better protect yourself in the next situation where you are dealing with somebody who is, less than honest and that kind of thing. So again, fives here, and we do have that Five of Swords is where we're starting out. So the five is all about new cycles, change, progress, adjustment, and definitely that is happening because you have the Six of Swords, so it's a progression. And you also have the Nine of Swords, and you've got the Eight of Swords. So again, you are escalating that level of I don't want to say fear and anxiety, but it really is kind of that level of, uncertainty. But again, they're all minor arcana, so it's things that will pass. These are things that are not big major factors that are going to be life altering. They're little steps of, I'm tearing myself down and now I'm going to build myself up. I'm tearing myself down, now I'm going to build myself up. I found a new path. I'm excited about it, but I have to really guard the situation because I have a lot of things still yet to release and a lot of things still yet to do and a lot of strategies to implement before I can really, find this outcome of, freedom, the sense of freedom and moving into a new cycle. So again, everything is sort of sitting at a nine. With that Nine of Wands, it seems to be that there's some kind of creative action that needs to be taken. There's some kind of definite action, especially when it's Knight of Pentacles. I feel like there is something that is going to be revealed to you that will help you to move things forward. But again, you've got that victory card with the Six of Wands. So you are realizing what it is that you need to do. And it's about persistence with that card as well. And certainly with the Nine of Wands. These are cards of persistence to overcome all obstacles at whatever cost there. But it is also about using your intelligence. And there's a lot of drive and ambition behind your energy this month. But again, a lot of fighting yourself internally as well. So, I mean, in terms of finances, like I said, I mean, I feel like you're kind of rising. You're creating more value within yourself because you are taking the time out, but you're also creating value for yourself because you're in a place of um, assessing your own skill set and what it is that you will have to do, to be able to open things up for yourself. But like I said, I mean, overall, anything that's in around a nine, and you do have that Nine of Pentacles again further out. So even with relationship status and finances, there's still one more thing left to do, some last lesson or some last task, something that's fairly significant here. And it does look like you're going to be, again, boundaries are up, but there's also energy of sort of speeding up, but there's more mental energy that you're kind of putting yourself through first before you actually take this action or this big step. And there's a little bit of contemplation here before you are ready to act upon something. So again, the victory card to me tells me you're acting upon something in the month of January, whether this is, going for admission into something, going for that new job, but again, even though I don't really see necessarily, well, it could be a new job here again with that Fool energy, but it feels more like directional change in some new path that you're trying to maneuver into. But it could be a dream path as well. But again, it seems to be very cautious moves with all this energy here. Just because it's, the Knight of Pentacles is a very slow moving energy, certainly speaks to somebody being very practical and responsible in how they move ahead. So this is not, and even with the Queen of Pentacles, I mean, that's somebody who is not acting out of, high risk and all of that. Like you see with the Fool, this is really slow, practical energy and responsible moves. But again, I feel like you're just ready for a brand new breath of fresh air in another direction. You want something that's going to kind of ignite you and restart, restart the engine, so to speak, right? It's something along that line. I just feel like there might have been some level of, I just don't get the feeling of this being anything like, am I good enough necessarily? It feels like it's more, you know, am I going to have enough time to finish it? Am I going to be able to, get the support I need or the money I need? It's that kind of feeling. So I feel like you're in control for a lot of this, like you still feel like you have a level or a measure of control because you are still sitting here with that King of Swords energy with the victory. So I don't feel like you don't feel competent. I feel like you don't think you're going to have the resources or support or something, to get you to this new path. It feels like something like that. Because this is still energy of being pretty secure with who you are, with that King of Swords, and especially when it's right beside the victory card there. So, like I said, I mean, a lot of this energy is definitely, kind of you against yourself here. So you have to just get out of your own way, is what I would say there, to be able to. And again, it's letting go of things as well. You might have to let go of some of your commitments as well, with that Eight of Cups. Or things that you were committed to in the real world that were tangible, kind of grounded activities. Maybe you have a lot of things that were on the go, and you are realizing now you have to kind of let go of some of that to be able to, move things in the direction that is required for, your own salvation, so to speak, your own level of peace or balance, whatever it is to, and it's not even really about the not knowing people. There was something else I heard that was on another podcast. Trying to remember her name. It was somebody, it was very significant. Hopefully I remember this for the next, I just kind of came across her, but she was a spiritual teacher of sorts. And she was also talking about, people think that we're fearing the things in the unknown, and that's not the case. We fear the things that, it's not the unknown that we fear. It's the things that we fear that we're not within, that we're not enough of, or we don't measure up to. So it's not the unknown, it's not the future, we're not sure of ourselves moving into a new space, what we're really capable of. And that's the whole idea, is to move yourself into new spaces to be able to figure out who you are, who you really are. And that's why I always say, like, remember who you are. And it comes from not personalizing the path and saying, well, because I didn't accomplish this in this amount of time, or I didn't do this well, it's not about attaching blame, shame, or any of that stuff to the event or the activity, or because it's a learning process. So it's about, what do I gain from, reorienting myself to the next path. So if this didn't work out in this way, what can I do to, tweak and make, the path, one that has a strong foundation and that's solid. So those kinds of things take a lot of failures to be able to find the right balance. So, it's not about shaming, it's not about failure, it's about what did you learn by doing it. So a lot of times, even when people start new businesses, that they don't know how, all of they don't know all of the details about opening up a business. What are the government things that you have to apply for? What are the licenses that are required? How much money do you need down? What are the things about patenting and so on, copyright infringement, whatever it is. Nobody knows all of those answers right off the bat. It's about, jumping in, fail, 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 or get half measure or half answer, and then keep going, keep going, keep going till eventually it just feels like, oh, okay, now I understand where I'm going with this. I've done it once, I can do it again. Even if I did fail at that one particular area of my life, it doesn't matter. It's not really failure. It's really about tweaking the process until you remember who you are. And you remember who you are by actually, putting yourself to the test. So as much as it's the universe putting the obstacles in your way to put these tests in front of you, it's also about how does the universe make you see what you're capable of? Because otherwise we play small. If you're in a room full of people that are maybe more dominating, or a room full of people that are more educated, or anything that makes you feel much more intimidated, you're going to be less inclined to show yourself or show what you're capable of. So you have to be given an obstacle or a task or something in the way that's going to be kind of throwing you into, do or die, get in there or get out, fight or flight, that kind of thing. So like I say, never think that, don't attach fear and shame to things, because people will always put you down for anything that they can. If they see weakness in you, it doesn't matter if you have to tweak the process. You're learning the process so that next time you get up to do a little bit more, it expedites the success rate so that things actually move in your favor. So anyway, but as I say, overall, this month looks like a lot of you on you. You're really just trying to figure out, spiritually, you're kind of going within. Like I said, there's definitely a sense that you are struggling with some of the reevaluating aspects of life and your options that might be available to you here as well. But it's still about kind of trying to renew yourself and set priorities is really what that speaks to me about. So once you can, like I say, the more time that you spend in anguish, the more time it takes for you to get out of anguish. So the less that you attach it to a personality defect or something that you feel is incorrect or not right with you, then it takes a lot longer to readjust the perception of self, and that could be months out. So you stymie your own progress. But if you can actually say to yourself, letting things go. Okay, so what? I failed at this, big deal. Everybody, fails at a particular task before they get to the next. Elon Musk and all the rest of them out there, they've had their share of failures, but it doesn't mean that they wear it like a badge on their shoulder and tell everyone. It just means that they're aware of it, and they will share it. But it does mean that they're comfortable in themselves at that point, after having gone through all of those things, that they are able to feel a sense of mastery, for having overcome all the obstacles. And that's really where you're at. I feel like you are challenging yourself here. Like I said, that hermit energy is still a really strong level of introversion that is bringing you to a place where you need to really find your own inner strength, take distance from yourself or others, or take distance from others rather, to be able to sort of find your inner answers. But again, it's still about searching for personal truths and path on that path that is going to help you to complete your projects. But it's about coming to some of the illumination here, again, with those that are around you that you can trust or not trust, and certainly creating some boundaries here, again, Nine of Wands, but also having the clarity to see things for how they are. You will always have those forces out there that will try to present as close friends or whatever it is for you, like people that they're trying to get you to confide. But the important thing is when you know yourself best, misdirection or to let people know, or not let, it's like let's put it this way: when you're talking about even a corporation or an organization, a lot of organizations will give you a place in a position where you're able to work in a particular way repeatedly in that one task. But it doesn't necessarily mean you've built this huge skill, but you have built a huge skill in that one area. So most people, even with a corporation, they never really want you to have all of the areas of the corporation, all of the skills attached to a corporation that would allow you to thrive or to ask for a larger, amount of money. That's not true of all corporations, but in a lot of them. So they give you the one mundane task, and I always repeatedly say, press the F key, press the F3, 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 whatever. And it's just that repetitive task that you eventually become really good at. But the point is how does that transfer out into the real world in other positions if you needed to grow it, or in other situations where you need to personally, build on that skill to create a future for yourself. So these are the things that matter. Skill building on any level should advance you in some way. If you're living for somebody else's dream and really looking for recognition, for some of you maybe that is comfortable, but for others, you might need something that is a little bit um, more about the personal learning, and trial and error is the best way to learn. But again, it's, how do you stay balanced while you're going through the strength through adversity, as they say, right? So it's showing up for yourself mostly, and knowing that don't, try not to personalize whatever you haven't been able to obtain, in that moment. You'll get another opportunity. So if you weren't able to learn a skill in a particular framework, you maybe not have been ready or prepared for it. So the next job may prepare you better for that particular success or recognition or skill set that you require. So it's okay to let things go. Yes, it is a bite in terms of finances, especially with the economy the way it is now. And that's why I always try to say, always try to have plan A, B, and C kind of ready for, who are your supporters? What are your backups? But again, remember, corporations don't reveal all their truths, all their answers, all their, levels of expertise to one person, because then that ruins their own level in the market. So it's the same thing for yourself. You achieve more levels of gain when you are able to not give everybody all the answers or all the information or all the skill set that you have, and if you're always sharing it with other people, that's great once you reach a level of success for yourself and you feel comfortable doing that. But I think as you're going through the process, it takes away from some of your own level of expertise, but it does build confidence when you can share with somebody one area of your success or one area of your knowledge or one area, and not all. That's all I'm saying. So again, I feel like you kind of have to be a taskmaster here with yourself, and remember that enlightenment comes from the hermit energy, but you also need to know when to release, let loose a little bit here too, so that you can actually enjoy the process of finding those answers. And a lot of that is going to come through by way of wisdom comes from inner soul searching and maybe a little bit of pain through adversity. But again, there's also that full energy in here. Know when to loosen up and actually take the time to feel a little more refreshed in whatever it is you're doing, because it does take a moment of refreshing yourself in some respect, to be able to kind of see through the trees, to be able to um, feel like you are learning something through a deeper truth. So it's not surface level truth, it's deeper truths that you now incorporate into your work ethic or your relationship ethic, so that if you see something again that is, I'm not talking about PTSD situations, but if you see something again that resembles some level of dishonesty or uh, darker energy, or something that might be more of an obstacle, it's time to step back and assess things and before, and gain some clarity before you throw up a barrier. But it's okay to, expect that there will be some obstacles ahead, just knowing that you have the ability to get through those unexpected changes, sudden or otherwise, is really what that's all about. So again, especially with the Wheel of Fortune energy there too, that's all about, I just feel like there's a path of discovery here for you. And again, this inner search is all about you remembering who you are. So I'm going to leave it at that. And but February looks, like I said, looks to be a lot of, so try to get a lot of resources or things that are helpful to you when you're going through these darker periods. It's not so much that I see darkness or heavy depth, but there's a lot of depth in terms of the way that your self-talk is maybe what I would say is coming through here. So I still feel like you have the upper side of things. There's a lot of cards of, you're ready for a challenge, you're ready for something new. You definitely know when to step back at some point, but remember again who you are. So don't allow yourself to tear yourself down is really what I'm saying here, because again, there's a progression, from the 5 to the 8, or sorry, the 8 to the 9, and as well we've got the 6 of Swords up here too. So these again, they're really cards of letting you know that you have to release some of this baggage that you're carrying in your head before you can really find deeper levels of transformation here with the Death card. And again, it's worth it. The deeper levels of transformation mean that you move to a new level. This is about, if you're moving to a new level, it means that you can see those, I'm going to use it metaphorically, the devil's in front of you. I just feel that, knowing what you're up against is confidence building. So, we might be disappointed in what we see, but at the same token, when you know what you're looking at and you're not acting on it, you're just letting that person be who they are, and if they're still stuck in that mode of, I've got to be sly, I've got to be this, I've got to be that, well, then that is who they are in the moment, but it's not your energy pool that you need to figure out or indulge in. So again, it's empowering to know that you have a sense of seeing what the temptations are, seeing what the people are around you that might be potential obstacles. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And again, just on that note, remember who you are, keep moving forward, never give up, and looking forward to your new path and hearing what your comments are and where you're headed. So that's 2023 in a nutshell for February. Take care, Libra.